Good day, fellow learners. I am Danilo Dividina, your presenter in today's ED 103 class. Today, I will discuss and explain to all of you Jean Piaget's theory of moral development and Laurenis Kohlberg's theory of moral reasoning. We often heard about Jean Piaget, and Lawrence Kohlberg especially, when we took the licensure examination for teachers. This report is about their famous theories, and I will try my best to explain to you about their concept of moral development. When we say moral development, it refers to the development of children's behavior and attitude towards people in society, according to social and cultural values, norms and laws. Some will say that their values are taught by their parents, and some will say it is innate. In 1938, Jean Piaget said that children cannot be forced to learn moral values, since they develop their moral values by dealing with various judgmental situations in their daily life. Lawrence Kohlberg was inspired by Piaget, that he extended his idea and came up with his own theory. In 1958, Jean-William Fritz Piaget was a Swiss psychologist, known for his work on child development. His theory of cognitive development is one of the most influential and widely cited theories in the field of developmental psychology. According to his theory, every child passes through the sequence of 4 stages and accomplishes cognitive tasks related to each stage, and then the child enters into the next stage of cognitive development. Let us discuss each stage in detail. Stage 1. Sensoromotor stage, from birth to 2 years. In this stage, the child acquires experience or knowledge through their reflexes, motor abilities, or other sensoromotor skills. This stage is divided into: first is reflexes. Every child is born with the abilities of inborn reflexes, like suckling, looking and hearing. It involves responding to certain voices and looking towards them, opening of the mouth, looking towards colorful items, and closing the hand when you touch their palm. Second is primary circular reactions. The child works on their own actions, and they repeatedly respond to these actions. Like sucking their thumb, it feels good to them, and they repeat it again and again. In secondary circular reactions, the child starts to focus on their surrounding world and starts repeating actions that bring changes to their surroundings. Third is coordination of secondary reactions, that primarily involves eye and hand coordination. Piaget called this stage first proper intelligence, because the child starts planning the steps to meet some objectives. In object permanence, if you hide their toy from their sight, they won't think that their particular toy does not exist. Instead, they may try to find their lost toy. Stage 2. Pre-operation stage, from 2 to 7 years old. During this stage, the children learn to speak. They learn to represent the objects, using words and images, and start thinking symbolically. The children start understanding the events of past and future. For example, if the mother is going to the office, then the child starts crying as she remembers that the mother will come late. The child stays away from heights as he remembers that he fell down from the table. Egocentrism is the tendency to view the world from one's own perspective and to have difficulty understanding the perspective of others. Children in this stage also tend to have a limited understanding that the quantity of an object or substance remains, even when its appearance changes. Stage 3. Concrete operational stage, from 7 to 12 years of age. During this period, children start observing things or events in a more flexible and logical way. They start following some basic rules unconsciously. Development of conservation allows children to understand that the quantity of an object or substance remains the same even when its appearance changes. They are also able to engage in more complex forms of logical reasoning and can understand relationships between different objects and ideas. Stage 4, Formal Operational Stage, 12 years and above. During this stage, individuals become capable of abstract thinking and can engage in hypothetical reasoning. They are also able to engage in metacognition, which is the ability to think about one's own thinking and to evaluate and adjust one's own mental process. Individuals are able to think more systematically and logically than in earlier stages. They are able to consider multiple hypotheses, test them through experimentation, and evaluate the results. They can also think abstractly and consider hypothetical scenarios and possibilities that do not exist in reality. Important milestone here is the ability to engage in deductive reasoning, which involves drawing logical conclusions from a set of premises or assumptions. For example, if a person knows that almost all cats have fur and that their pet is a cat, they can logically deduce that their pet has fur. In addition, they are also able to engage in inductive reasoning, making generalizations based on specific observations or examples. For example, if a person observes that all of the cats they have seen have fur, they may make the generalization that all cats have fur. It is important to note that not all individuals reach the formal operational stage, and even those who do may not use formal operational thinking consistently in all areas of their lives. In conclusion, Piaget's theory of cognitive development provides a useful framework for understanding how children's cognitive abilities develop over time. The 4 stages of cognitive development: sensoromotor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. Each represent distinct patterns of thinking and reasoning that characterize different periods of childhood and adolescence. Piaget's theory has been criticized for not taking into account the influence of cultural and environmental facts on cognitive development. While it has its limitations, it remains an important and influential contribution to the field of developmental psychology. Lawrence Kohlberg expanded upon Piagetian notions of moral development. While they both viewed moral development as a result of a deliberate attempt to increase the coordination and integration of one's orientation to the world, Kohlberg provided a systematic 3-level, 6-stage sequence reflecting changes in moral judgment throughout the lifespan. Kohlberg argued that development proceeds from a selfish desire to avoid punishment, to a concern for group functioning, to a concern for the consistent application of universal ethical principles. Now let us proceed to another theory. Lawrence Kohlberg was an American psychologist, best known for his theory of moral development. Kohlberg's stages of moral development is a theory that describes how individuals develop their understanding of morality over time. Theory consists of 3 levels, each of which has 2 stages. Level 1. Pre-conventional morality. At this level, individuals are focused on avoiding punishment and seeking rewards. Their moral reasoning is based on their own self-interest and personal needs. Stage 1. Obedience and punishment orientation. At Stage 1, obedience to rules and punishments for breaking the rules determine the morality of the children. According to Kohlberg, The children at this stage believe that the rules set by their parents or teachers are fixed, and they will get punishment if they won't obey these rules. Stage 2. Individualism and exchange orientation. At stage 2, children start understanding that there is not a single way of seeing any situation. It can be viewed from different perspectives, as every individual has his or her own viewpoints. Children begin to look for their own benefit in doing any action, and focus on getting incentives or fulfilling their own needs in exchange for doing that action. During this stage, children become more concerned about equitable justice. At this stage, they have a mentality like, "You spoiled my painting, and I'll spoil yours too." Level 2. Conventional morality. At this level, individuals are focused on maintaining social order and conforming to societal norms. They are concerned with being a good person and following the expectations of others. Stage 3. Interpersonal relationships orientation. At stage 3, the people are concerned about their public image and want to be seen as a good person in society, which is why this stage is also called the good boy, good girl orientation stage. Stage 4. Maintaining social order orientation. People at stage 4 also focuses on their behavior, being approved by their close relationships or surrounding people like stage 3. But their perspective of looking at a situation becomes wider at this stage because they judge different situations by considering the collective view of society. People at this stage strictly follow the rules, though they consider these rules as a burden to them. Level 3. Post-conventional morality. At this level, individuals are capable of thinking beyond the expectations of society and are willing to challenge social norms and conventions to uphold their own ethical principles. Stage 5. Social contract and individual rights orientation. They view rules as a social contract rather than a strict order that must be followed. They believe that norms should be followed only if they make sense to them and serves the well-being of both society and the individual. Stage 6. Universal ethical principles of orientation. People at this stage decide the behavior as morally wrong or right according to the universal moral principles like justice, fairness, and respecting everyone's opinions. And they usually develop a sense of guilt if they fail to obey the universal principles that they believe in. Kohlberg's stages of moral development is not absolute, as it too faces critiques, and among them are cultural bias, gender bias, limited scope, lack of empirical support, hierarchy of stages, lack of diversity. Kohlberg's theory primarily focuses on the development of moral reasoning in white, middle-class males. In response to these critiques, some researchers have attempted to expand on Kohlberg's theory to address some of the limitations. For example, Carol Gilligan's theory of moral development focuses on the development of care and empathy, which she argues is a key component of moral reasoning that is often overlooked by Kohlberg's theory. Despite these critiques, Kohlberg's stages of moral development remains a significant and influential theory in the field of psychology. It has provided a framework for understanding how individuals develop their understanding of morality over time, and it has helped to stimulate further research and discussion on the topic of moral development. And finally, let's watch and listen to the Heinz dilemma. The Heinz dilemma is a frequently used example to help us understand Kohlberg's stages of moral development. How would you answer this dilemma? Heinz's wife was diagnosed with a rare type of deadly cancer, and there was only one drug available in the market that could save her life. It was a kind of radium that a pharmacist had recently invented. The pharmacist reserved all the rights of manufacturing this drug. He decided to sell this drug at a very high price than its actual amount. In fact, he was charging 10 times higher than its original amount. Heinz did not have that much amount, so he decided to take the help of everyone he knew, but he managed to gather $1,000 only. Heinz went to that pharmacist and explained to him the situation of his wife and told the pharmacists to sell the drug at a cheaper price, or he'll pay the remaining $1,000 later. Heinz begged, but the pharmacist denied him, because he wanted to make a profit of his invented drug. Later, out of desperation, Heinz decided to break into the pharmacist's shop to steal the drug. What would you do if you were Heinz, and why? If you were to pick one of the below answers, which one would you choose? Number 1. Heinz should not steal the drug, because he would be put to prison for his crime. Number 2. Heinz should steal the drug, because he would feel gratified and happier. Number 3. Heinz should steal the drug, because he's a good husband, and it's expected of him to do so by his wife. Number 4. Heinz should steal the drug, but be incarcerated, because he broke the law. 5. Heinz should steal the drug, because saving a life is more important than breaking the law. 6. Heinz should steal the drug, but not be incarcerated, because the law would be unjust if he penalized an individual for saving a life. Which stage of moral development are you in? If you chose answer 1, you were probably at the pre-conventional level of moral development. Stage 1, you focus on the direct consequences of your actions on yourself, so you believe it is wrong to steal. If you chose answer 2, you focus on what you believe to be for your best interest, because you benefit from the result, hence you believe it is all right to steal. If you chose answer 3, you try to live up to expectations of your social role. You judge the morality of the action by focusing on relationships, because you want to be a good spouse, hence you believe it is all right to steal. If you chose answer 4, you feel that it is morally wrong to violate laws. A law and order are important and to be obeyed. You would think that everyone would steal if Heinz was allowed to. If you chose answer 5, you believe that laws are basically social contracts that should not be rigid in the face of certain areas such as saving a life. While laws might exist for the greater good, there are times that they will still work against the interest of certain individuals. Saving a life is definitely more important than breaking the law. Stealing. If you chose answer 6, you are focused on universal human rights. You feel that all individuals deserve to afford the drug and be saved regardless of their wealth. You are one of those who would have challenged slavery, even when the law allowed it. Few people reach this level. The following are the references of my report for proper attribution. And this is Danilo Dividina reporting. Thank you for listening.